Hello, everyone, and welcome to English with Jesse and Jane. I'm Jesse, and I'm really glad you're here with us today. Whether you're listening in the morning, in the evening, or right in the middle of a very boring task, welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jane. And yes, Jesse is right. This is the kind of podcast you can listen to while walking, cleaning, cooking, or even pretending to work. We won't tell anyone.
Exactly. This is a relaxed space. No stress, no pressure, and no one asking you difficult questions. Today, we're just going to talk. Slowly, clearly, and naturally.
And we're going to laugh a little too, because learning English doesn't need to feel serious all the time. If it feels too serious, people stop listening and maybe fall asleep.
Yes, and if you fall asleep right now, please wake up. This part is important. Today's episode is for shadowing practice. That means you listen to us speaking English and you speak with us out loud as much as you can.
Shadowing is one of the best ways to improve your speaking. You don't stop the audio every sentence. You don't think too much. You just follow the sound and rhythm of real English.
It's like walking next to someone and matching their pace. Not running, not rushing, just moving forward together.
Sometimes your pronunciation will be perfect. Sometimes it won't. Both are completely fine.
And sometimes you'll miss a word. That's normal. Just keep going. So get comfortable, take a small breath, and let English flow.
Okay, Jesse, let's begin with something simple and familiar.
Yes, let's talk about our day.
So Jane, how did your day start this morning?
My day started in a very normal way. I woke up when my alarm rang, and for a few seconds I just stayed in bed, thinking about whether I really needed to get up. After that short moment of negotiation with myself, I got up, walked to the kitchen, and made a cup of coffee. That coffee honestly decided my mood for the rest of the morning.
I understand that completely. For me, mornings are like a slow computer starting up. First, my body is awake, but my brain is still sleeping somewhere. I also made coffee, but I made it in a hurry because I woke up later than I wanted to.
Yes, when you wake up late, everything feels faster and louder. I was lucky today because I had a little time, so I drank my coffee slowly and looked outside the window. It was quiet, and that helped me feel calm before starting work.
That sounds nice. My morning was louder. I was moving quickly, checking the time again and again, and telling myself that tomorrow I would wake up earlier, even though I know I will probably say the same thing tomorrow morning.
That's a very honest morning story. After coffee, I checked my phone, which I try not to do too much, but somehow it always happens. I looked at a few messages, checked the weather, and suddenly 10 minutes were gone.
That happens to everyone. I also checked my phone, and I told myself I was checking something important, but in reality, I was just scrolling without thinking. It's funny how fast time moves when you do that.
Yes, very fast. After that, I finally sat down to work. I opened my computer, looked at my tasks for the day, and chose one small thing to start with, because starting is always the hardest part.
I really like that idea. When I see too many tasks, my brain doesn't know where to begin, so starting with one small thing makes the day feel possible. Once I finish one task, I feel more confident to continue.
Exactly. And once I started working, time moved differently. The morning passed quietly, and before I knew it, it was already time for lunch.
Lunch is an important moment in the day. If I eat well, my afternoon is better. If I don't eat well, I feel tired, unfocused, and a little unhappy.
I feel the same way. Today I ate something simple. Rice, vegetables, and a little chicken. Nothing special, but it gave me energy.
I ate pasta today, and I probably ate a little too much. After lunch, I felt comfortable and very sleepy.
Yes, that sleepy feeling after lunch is very real. Sometimes my body wants a nap, but my schedule says no.
When that happens, I try to stand up, walk around for a few minutes, and drink water. It doesn't always work perfectly, but it helps enough to continue.
That's a good habit. In the afternoon, I usually work more slowly, but I try to stay focused and finish what I can.
The afternoon feels longer to me. The energy is lower, but the responsibilities are still there, so I try to be patient with myself.
That's important. Then finally, the evening comes and everything feels softer and calmer.
Evenings are my favorite part of the day. I like closing my computer, sitting down, and feeling that the day is almost finished.
Same here. In the evening, I like simple things. A quiet dinner, a little music, and light conversation. Nothing too serious.
Listener, think about your day today. How did it start, and how is it ending?
Say it out loud, slowly, in English. You don't need many words.
You're doing great just by speaking.
And now, let's move on to another part of everyday life.
Let's talk about something everyone does, even if they don't enjoy it very much. Shopping for everyday things. Food, small items, things we suddenly realize we don't have at home.
Yes, shopping is one of those activities that sounds simple, but somehow always takes longer than we expect. I usually tell myself, I'll just buy a few things, and then I come back with a full bag and a lighter wallet.
That happens to me all the time. I go to the store with a clear plan in my head, but once I'm inside, I start noticing things I didn't need 5 minutes ago. Suddenly, everything looks useful.
Exactly. For me, the most dangerous place in a store is the snack section. I go in thinking I'll be strong, and then I see something new and think, okay, maybe just this one.
I know that feeling. I try to shop when I'm not hungry, because shopping while hungry is a very bad idea. When I'm hungry, I want to buy everything.
Yes, shopping when you're hungry is a mistake. Your brain makes bad decisions, and later at home you ask yourself, why did I buy this?
That question is very familiar. I also try to make a shopping list, but I don't always follow it.
I make a list too, and then I forget to look at it while I'm in the store, so the list stays in my pocket completely useless.
At least the intention is good. Usually I shop once or twice a week, depending on how busy I am.
Same here. I like buying fresh food, so I don't like shopping only once a week. I enjoy choosing fruits and vegetables, especially when they look fresh.
I enjoy that too, but I don't enjoy long lines at the store. Standing and waiting is probably my least favorite part of shopping.
Yes, waiting in line feels very slow, especially when you're tired. But sometimes it's also a good moment to observe people and practice patience.
That's a positive way to see it. After shopping, I usually feel two things at the same time: relief and exhaustion.
Relief because the fridge is full.
And exhaustion because carrying bags is harder than it looks.
Exactly. When I get home, I like to put everything away slowly and then sit down for a few minutes.
That sitting down moment is very satisfying. It feels like a small reward.
Listener, think about the last time you went shopping. What did you buy?
Did you buy food?
Did you buy something you didn't plan to buy?
Say it out loud.
You're doing really well.
Now, Jane, let's slowly move into another part of everyday life.
Yes, weekends feel very different from weekdays. During the week, everything feels scheduled and organized. On the weekend, time feels more open.
I agree. On weekends, I usually wake up later and move more slowly. I don't like alarms on weekends.
Me neither. I like waking up naturally and starting the day without pressure.
On Saturdays, I usually do practical things first: cleaning, shopping, organizing small things at home.
That sounds very productive. On Sundays, I try to do less and rest more.
Sunday has a special feeling. It's calm, but also a little sad because the week is coming.
Yes, that feeling is very real. I try to enjoy Sunday evening and not think too much about Monday.
Listener, how are your weekends?
Busy or calm?
Do you stay at home?
Do you go out?
Say it out loud.
You're doing really well.
Now, let's slowly move into another part of everyday life. Let's talk about family for a little while. Even if your family is small, big, or somewhere in between, they are always part of your day in some way. For me, mornings often start with small messages from my parents or my siblings, asking things like, "Did you eat breakfast?" or "Are you awake yet?"
Yes, I know that feeling. Even though I'm an adult, my family still checks on me. Sometimes it's helpful, and sometimes it feels like they're watching everything I do. But mostly, I'm happy they care.
Exactly. I also try to call or message my family during the day. Just a small hello, asking how they are, or sometimes sharing a funny moment. It feels nice to connect, even for a minute or two.
I agree. I enjoy those small moments too. For example, yesterday my little cousin sent me a picture of their new puppy, and it made me smile for the rest of the day. Even something so small can make a difference.
That's true. Family doesn't always mean big events. It can be little messages, small jokes, or even sharing a meal together. Those little things create happiness.
Yes, and sometimes family can also be a little challenging. For example, someone always asks questions or they want to share advice you didn't ask for. It can be funny, but also a little stressful.
Exactly. I have one brother who always teases me about my habits. He notices small things like how I make coffee or how I leave my shoes in the hallway. It can be annoying, but it's also part of our relationship.
Yes, teasing and joking is part of family life. Even if it's small, it keeps everyone connected. And sometimes it gives you stories to laugh about later.
Listener, think about your family for a moment. Do you have brothers or sisters? Do you send messages to your parents or cousins? Say it out loud in English.
Even one sentence is fine. For example, I talk to my sister every day, or I call my mom on Sunday. You don't need to make it complicated.
And after family time, people usually do things they enjoy, hobbies, walks, or relaxing activities. Jane, what do you usually do after your work or after school?
I like doing small hobbies in the evening. For example, I sometimes paint or read a short story or listen to music. These little things help me relax and feel happy.
That's good. I also enjoy hobbies, but my favorite is going for a short walk. Even just 10 or 15 minutes outside, seeing trees, sky, or people walking helps me feel refreshed.
Yes, walking outside is simple but effective. Sometimes I combine it with listening to a podcast or just walking quietly and thinking. It's peaceful.
Listener, what are your hobbies? Do you draw, read, walk, or maybe cook? Say it out loud in English.
And it doesn't have to be perfect. Even just naming your hobbies counts as speaking practice.
Exactly. Now let's talk about a part of everyday life that everyone experiences: little problems. Nothing big, just small challenges that can happen during the day.
Yes, like forgetting to buy something at the store, or spilling a little coffee on your shirt, or losing your keys for a few minutes. Those small problems happen to everyone.
Exactly. For example, today I almost lost my wallet while I was moving quickly from the kitchen to the living room. I felt a little panic, but luckily it was right on the table.
Yes, that happens to me too. I always check my bag 3 times before leaving the house, but somehow something small is always missing. It's frustrating in the moment, but later you can laugh about it.
Yes, and learning to laugh at small problems is important. It makes life easier. Even when something small goes wrong, you don't need to stress too much.
Exactly. Listener, think about a small problem you had today. Try to describe it in one sentence in English. For example, I lost my keys or I dropped my cup. Say it slowly and clearly.
Even small sentences count. Even small sentences are great practice.
And that's part of shadowing. You don't need long speeches yet. You just listen, speak, repeat, and slowly your English will feel natural.
Yes, and after small problems come small joys, little happy moments during the day. Jane, did you have any today?
Yes, I found a chocolate bar I forgot I bought last week. It was hiding in the kitchen drawer. That small chocolate made me unexpectedly happy.
That's a great small joy. For me, I heard a bird singing outside my window and it made me smile. Sometimes small moments are enough to feel good.
Listener, What small joys did you have today? Say it out loud, slowly, in English.
Let's talk about travel today. Even if you don't travel often, it's something everyone thinks about at some point. Trips, vacations, or even a short ride to another city, all of it counts.
Yes, travel can be very exciting, but it can also be stressful. Even a small trip requires planning. I remember last year I planned a weekend trip, and I spent hours just packing my bag, deciding what to wear, and making sure I didn't forget anything.
Exactly. Packing is a skill. Sometimes it takes more time than the actual trip. I usually make a checklist, but somehow I always forget at least one small thing, like my phone charger or a hat.
Yes, the small things can be the most annoying. One time I forgot my sunglasses on a sunny day, and I had to squint all afternoon. It was uncomfortable, but also funny when I think about it now.
Travel also involves transportation. Planes, trains, buses, or even long car rides. I enjoy them sometimes, but I also get nervous if I'm late or if the tickets are confusing.
Oh, yes. Traveling can be stressful if you don't plan ahead. Even a small mistake can make you feel anxious. Like last month, I thought my train was at 3 p.m., but it was actually at 3:30 p.m. I arrived early, but I was still panicking for no reason.
That's classic. I do the same thing, checking the time, checking my tickets, checking the time again, and then I realize I'm fine, but my heart is still racing.
Another fun part of travel is the food. Trying new foods in a new place is exciting. Sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes not so much.
Yes, I remember trying a dish in another city that I thought would be delicious, but it was too spicy and I could barely eat it. I laughed so much after, though, because I looked ridiculous trying to drink water so fast.
Travel also gives you stories to tell. Even small trips create memories. One time I got lost for a few minutes in a new city, and it was frustrating in the moment, but now it's one of my favorite stories.
Exactly. Travel teaches patience, problem solving, and also gives little surprises. Sometimes good surprises, like finding a quiet park. Sometimes silly surprises, like realizing you put your shoes on the wrong feet when walking around the hotel.
That actually happened to me once. I didn't notice for 10 minutes. People must have thought I was walking strangely, but I didn't care. I was too embarrassed to fix it in public.
Listener, think about your last trip. Where did you go? Did something funny happen? Say it out loud, slowly, in English.
Even small trips count. Walking in a new neighborhood, taking a short bus ride, or visiting a friend in another city. All of that is travel.
And planning is part of the fun. Choosing a destination, packing, deciding what to see, even if things don't go perfectly, it's all part of the adventure.
Yes, and traveling also helps you notice small details, a different street, a new smell, or a sound you don't hear at home. All these little things make the trip interesting.
Travel can also be relaxing. Sitting by the water, walking slowly, or just watching the city pass by from a window. Even short moments like that can feel like a vacation.
And of course, traveling with someone else is different from traveling alone. With friends or family, you share laughs, mistakes, and memories. It's always more fun, even when small problems happen.
Listener, imagine your perfect trip. Where would you go? What would you do? Say it out loud in English.
Even just one sentence is enough. For example, I want to visit the beach, or I want to travel by train.
Yes, and remember, even talking about travel is good practice. You are learning new words, practicing sentences, and speaking slowly.
Okay, Jesse, after travel, maybe we can talk about weekend activities or hobbies next. Those are also part of everyday life and fun to describe.
Yes, and we can make it long, slow, and full of small stories, just like we've been doing. Let's talk about weekends. Weekends are different from weekdays, right? For me, weekends feel like a little gift. 2 days where I don't have to follow the strict schedule of work or school.
Yes, exactly. Weekends feel free, even if you have chores to do.
I like waking up a little later, enjoying my breakfast without rushing, and just planning my day slowly.
That's one of my favorite things too. I don't like alarms on weekends. I like waking up naturally, stretching in bed and thinking about what I want to do. Sometimes I just stay in bed for a few extra minutes and feel completely lazy, and that's okay.
Yes, lazy weekends are the best. Sometimes I drink my coffee and just look outside the window, thinking, I don't need to do anything right now. It feels peaceful.
Of course, but weekends aren't always just for relaxing. Sometimes I do small tasks first, cleaning the apartment, washing dishes, or buying groceries, so I can enjoy the rest of the day.
Yes, I do the same. I try to do the small tasks early so they don't bother me later. It feels good to finish them quickly and then have time for hobbies or fun.
Speaking of hobbies, weekends are perfect for them. I usually spend some time reading a book, drawing, or going for a walk. Even small hobbies make me feel productive and happy.
I love hobbies too. Sometimes I paint or write a short story. Sometimes I just listen to music and relax. Hobbies don't need to be big or complicated. Even small activities make a difference.
Yes, hobbies are about enjoyment, not perfection. For example, I tried cooking a new recipe last weekend. It didn't turn out perfectly, but it was fun to try, and I learned something new.
I love that. Even small experiments or mistakes can be fun. I tried baking cookies last weekend, and one batch got a little burnt. I laughed a lot, but we still ate them.
That's part of life, right? Small mistakes, small successes, and small joys. Weekends are perfect for noticing them.
Yes, and weekends are also a time for friends and family. Even a short visit, a call, or a video chat can make the day special. It doesn't need to be a big event.
Exactly. Even spending just a few minutes talking to someone you like can feel refreshing. It's different from work or school interactions, more relaxed, more personal.
Listener, think about your weekends. Do you stay at home or go out? Do you have hobbies you enjoy? Say it out loud in English.
You can say simple sentences like, I like reading, or I go for walks. Even one sentence is good practice.
And sometimes weekends are for trying new things. For example, last Sunday I tried a new cafe near my house. I didn't know the food, but it was delicious. Trying something new always makes the weekend feel special.
I love that. I also like trying new things. Last weekend, I went to a small park I hadn't visited before. It was quiet, with trees and a small lake. I walked slowly, watched the birds, and felt calm.
Yes, slow moments like that are very valuable. We often rush during the week, but weekends give us time to notice small details, a flower, a sound, or even a smell.
In hobbies, even small ones help us notice those details. It could be painting, cooking, reading, or walking. Even listening to music carefully can be a hobby.
Exactly. Listener, what's your favorite weekend activity? Say it slowly in English. For example, I like walking, or I like reading books.
And even if you only speak one sentence, it counts as practice. The more you say it, the more natural it becomes.
Yes, weekends are not just for fun. They are also for practicing life, relaxing, learning, enjoying, and connecting with yourself or others.
Exactly. Okay, Jane, next maybe we can talk about weekend meals and food. That's always fun. People do different things on weekends, and food is a big part of it.
Yes, and we can talk about recipes, snacks, eating out, or even funny food stories.
Listener, get ready. Food stories are always interesting, and speaking about them is perfect for shadowing.
Okay, Jane, let's talk about weekend meals. For me, weekends are a little different from weekdays because I have more time. I like to cook slowly, enjoy the process, and maybe try something new.
Yes, I feel the same way. During the week, meals are usually quick. Breakfast in 5 minutes, lunch at the desk, and dinner in a hurry. But on weekends, I like to take my time, try a new recipe, or just make something I enjoy without worrying about time.
Exactly. For example, last weekend, I tried making pancakes from scratch. I had never done it before, and at first I thought I might fail, but step by step, I managed to make them. They weren't perfect, but they tasted amazing, and I felt proud.
Oh, I love that. I tried baking cookies last weekend, but one batch got a little burnt. At first, I was frustrated, but then I laughed at myself and we still ate them. Sometimes imperfect food is the most fun.
Yes, that's true. And sometimes you discover small things by accident. Once I was trying to make pasta sauce, and I added a little too much garlic. At first, I thought it would be terrible, but it actually tasted good.
I know that feeling. I added extra spice to a dish once, and it was so spicy that my eyes watered. But later, I laughed and said, okay, maybe next time, less spice.
Food stories like this are fun. They also help us practice English because we describe actions, feelings, and mistakes.
Yes. Weekend meals are also a chance to enjoy something special. Sometimes I go out to a cafe or a small restaurant and I order something I don't usually eat. It feels like a small adventure.
I love that. Even visiting a small bakery or trying a new sandwich shop is exciting. The smell of fresh bread, the taste of a new pastry, it makes the day feel different.
And weekends are perfect for breakfast with family or friends, sitting together, chatting, laughing, and enjoying food slowly. It's very simple, but it makes a big difference.
Exactly. Even small meals can create happy memories. I remember having brunch with a friend last weekend. We laughed, we talked about small problems, and we enjoyed food together. It didn't need to be fancy, but it felt special.
Yes, sharing food is always nice. And even if you're alone, cooking for yourself can feel rewarding. You learn something new, you enjoy your meal, and you feel proud.
Listener, think about your weekend meals. Do you eat at home, cook something new, or go out? Say it slowly in English.
For example, I cook pasta or I eat breakfast at a cafe. Even one simple sentence counts as practice.
Another fun part of weekend meals is snacks. I usually try to eat a small snack in the afternoon. A chocolate bar, a piece of fruit, or something sweet. It feels like a little treat.
Yes, I do the same. Sometimes I make tea and a small cake and I sit quietly while enjoying it. Even 5 minutes of this can make the day feel better.
And sometimes snacks create funny moments. Once I spilled chocolate on my shirt while eating. I laughed so much because I looked like a mess, but it was delicious.
I had the same thing happen with soup. I tried to drink carefully, but some spilled on my clothes. I had to clean it immediately, but later I just laughed.
Listener, can you say a sentence about a funny food story? For example, I spilled coffee, or I burned my toast. Say it slowly and clearly.
Even small sentences help you practice English. It doesn't need to be long. The goal is to speak and repeat with us.
Exactly. Weekend meals, snacks, small mistakes, and little joys. All of these are perfect topics to practice English naturally.
Yes, and now we can move to another part of weekends, entertainment and relaxation, like watching movies, listening to music, or going out for a walk.
Listener, get ready because talking about entertainment is fun and full of new words. It's also perfect for shadowing.
Okay, Jane, let's talk about entertainment on weekends. For me, weekends are the perfect time to watch movies or listen to music. During the week, I usually don't have much time, so the weekend feels like a little reward.
I completely agree. On weekends, I like to choose a movie I've wanted to see for a while, or listen to music that helps me relax. It's a way to enjoy time without thinking too much about work or responsibilities.
Exactly. Sometimes I watch a funny movie, something that makes me laugh a lot. Laughing feels very good, especially after a busy week. Even if the movie is simple, it helps me feel happy.
Yes, laughter is very important. Sometimes I watch a comedy show or a series with short episodes. It's easy to follow, and I can watch a few episodes without feeling tired.
And weekends are also good for listening to music. I usually make a playlist of songs I like and just listen while doing small chores or sitting quietly. It's relaxing, and sometimes it even motivates me to dance a little in the living room.
Dancing in the living room is one of my favorite things, too. Even if I'm alone, moving a little with music makes me feel happy and free.
Yes, and entertainment doesn't need to be complicated.
Even a short walk outside while listening to music counts. I enjoy walking slowly in my neighborhood, feeling the fresh air and listening to my favorite songs.
Exactly. Sometimes I walk in the park near my house and notice small things, a bird, flowers, or people walking their dogs. It's simple, but it feels peaceful.
Weekends can also be time for small adventures. Even exploring a new street, visiting a small cafe, or going to a market nearby is exciting.
Yes, small adventures are great. You don't need to travel far to have fun. Even discovering something new in your own city can make the weekend feel special.
And watching movies, listening to music, or taking walks gives you stories to share. You can talk to friends, family, or even describe it in English as practice.
Listener, think about your weekend entertainment. Do you watch movies, listen to music, or go for walks? Say it slowly in English. For example, I watch movies or I listen to music on weekends.
Even small sentences are good. The goal is to speak, repeat, and get used to the rhythm of English.
Sometimes weekends are also for hobbies mixed with entertainment. For example, I like reading a book while listening to soft music. It makes me feel calm and happy at the same time.
That sounds perfect. I sometimes draw or write while listening to music too. Even 10 or 15 minutes is enough to feel relaxed and creative.
Yes, and weekends also give you time to try new hobbies or small projects. Even something simple like learning a new recipe or a new song on an instrument can be fun.
Listener, what hobbies or entertainment do you enjoy on weekends? Say it out loud in English. For example, I go for walks, or I watch TV, or I listen to music.
Don't worry about mistakes. Even if you say it slowly or make small errors, it's good practice.
Exactly. The more you speak, the more natural it becomes. And the weekend is the perfect time to practice because you can relax and enjoy it.
Okay, Jesse, after entertainment and hobbies, maybe we can talk about small weekend challenges like cooking mistakes, shopping struggles, or getting lost on a walk. Those are also fun to talk about and perfect for English practice.
Yes, funny or small challenges are great because we can laugh about them and learn new words at the same time. Okay, Jane, let's talk about small weekend challenges. Even a simple weekend can have funny or unexpected problems. For example, cooking something new can go completely wrong.
Yes, I remember last weekend I tried making a pasta dish I saw online. I followed the recipe carefully, but somehow the sauce became too salty. At first, I was frustrated, but then I laughed because I realized I had added extra salt by mistake.
I know that feeling. I once tried to bake a cake and I forgot the sugar. It was very interesting. We ate it anyway, but it didn't taste like cake at all.
Yes, mistakes in the kitchen are funny later. Even small spills or burned food can become a story to tell friends.
Exactly. And sometimes the mistakes are not in the kitchen. Shopping can also create small weekend challenges. For example, last Saturday I went to buy vegetables, but I forgot my wallet at home.
Oh no, I've done that too. You have to walk back home or ask someone to bring it. It's a little stressful, but later it's funny when you tell the story.
Yes, and even going for a walk can have challenges. Sometimes I take a new route and get a little lost. At first, I feel worried, but then I discover something new, like a small park or a cafe I didn't know existed.
I like that. Getting lost can feel annoying at first, but it can turn into a little adventure. Even 5 minutes of exploring a new street can make the weekend feel special.
Exactly. And small challenges also teach patience. Even a little mistake, like spilling coffee or forgetting something, is okay. We learn, laugh, and continue.
Yes. For example, I dropped a cookie on the floor last weekend. I was frustrated for a moment, but then I laughed and just made another one. It wasn't a big problem.
Exactly. Listener, think about a small challenge you had this weekend. Maybe something funny or unexpected. Say it out loud in English. For example, I spilled my drink, or I forgot my keys.
Even one sentence counts. Small sentences are perfect for shadowing practice.
Sometimes challenges can be fun, too. I remember trying to cook spaghetti in a small pan. The water boiled over, the pasta stuck together. It was a little chaos, but it made me laugh.
Yes, chaos in the kitchen is very common. Even if it doesn't look perfect, it's still part of the experience. And later, you can tell friends and laugh about it.
Weekends are full of these small moments. Mistakes, surprises, funny accidents. Even a small error can become a happy memory.
Listener, can you describe a small weekend mistake or funny moment in English? Say it slowly and clearly. For example, I dropped my phone or I burned my toast.
Even small sentences help you practice speaking, pronunciation, and rhythm. It's exactly what shadowing is for.
Yes, and these small adventures, mistakes, and little joys make weekends interesting. Even staying home can be fun if you notice small details. A good cup of coffee, a song you like, or a clean park nearby.
Exactly. And the more you talk about these moments, the more comfortable you get with English. Even short stories or simple sentences are very useful.
Okay, Jesse, after talking about small challenges and funny moments, maybe we can move to weekend reflections, like thinking about what made you happy, what you learned, or what you want to do next weekend.
Yes, that's perfect. Weekend reflections are relaxing, and describing them in English is great practice for speaking, naturally. Okay, Jane. After a weekend full of activities, small adventures, and even little mistakes, it's nice to reflect on the weekend. I usually like to think about what made me happy and what I learned.
Yes, I do the same. For example, this weekend, I realized that taking even 10 minutes to sit quietly and listen to music makes me feel much calmer. It's a small thing, but it makes a big difference.
Exactly. I also like to reflect on what I enjoyed. For instance, I really liked my walk in the park and discovering that small cafe I never noticed before. Those moments are simple, but they make me happy.
Yes, and sometimes reflection helps you plan for the next week. I think about things I want to do, small tasks I need to finish, or maybe a hobby I want to continue.
Right. For me, reflection is also about appreciating small successes. Even cooking a simple meal correctly or finishing a small task is a success. It may seem minor, but it feels good.
And reflecting doesn't have to be long or complicated. Even a few sentences in English are enough to practice and feel the benefit.
Listener, think about your weekend. What made you happy? What did you learn? Say it slowly in English.
For example, I enjoyed walking in the park, or I learned a new recipe. Even one sentence counts.
Exactly. And reflecting on the weekend also helps you prepare for the week ahead. You can think about small things you want to do, tasks you need to finish, or even fun things to plan.
Yes, planning doesn't need to be strict. Even thinking, I want to try a new recipe, or I want to walk more next week is enough.
Reflection and planning also give you confidence. You remember the things you did well and the small joys you experienced. It helps you start the new week with a positive feeling.
Exactly. And it's also a perfect moment for English practice. Describing your weekend, your feelings, and your plans helps you use new words and sentences naturally.
Listener, can you say a sentence about your weekend reflection or plan? For example, I learned to cook pasta, or next week I will go for a walk. Say it slowly and clearly.
Even one sentence counts as speaking practice. The important thing is to say it out loud and repeat.
Yes, and reflecting is also fun. You can notice small things you didn't pay attention to before, a funny moment, a delicious meal, or a new idea.
Exactly. Even small details like finding a good cafe or seeing a beautiful flower can be part of your reflection.
And when you speak about these reflections in English, you practice describing events, feelings, and plans, all important for everyday communication.
Listener, try to describe 3 things from your weekend. One thing that made you happy, one thing you learned, and one thing you want to do next week. Say them slowly in English.
Even if your sentences are short, it's great practice. Shadowing with us will help you speak more naturally and confidently.
And that's one of the best ways to make English a part of your daily life, talking about your real experiences.
Exactly. Weekend reflections are not just about remembering the past, but also about preparing for a better week ahead.
Yes, and speaking about it slowly, clearly, and naturally is exactly what shadowing practice is for.
All right, Jane, now that the weekend is over, let's talk about weekdays. For many people, weekdays feel very different from weekends. They feel more structured, more planned, and sometimes more stressful.
Yes, that's very true. On weekdays, I usually wake up earlier, follow a routine, and think about my responsibilities. Sometimes I feel motivated, and sometimes I just want 5 more minutes in bed.
Oh yes, the famous 5 more minutes. Those 5 minutes are never really 5 minutes. They turn into 10, then 15, and suddenly you're late.
Exactly. I tell myself just 1 more minute, and then I open my eyes and realize I should already be up. It happens more often than I want to admit.
Same here. But once I finally get up, I start my morning routine. I wash my face, brush my teeth, and make breakfast. Having a routine helps me wake up properly.
Yes, routines are very helpful. I like starting my day calmly, even if I don't have much time. A cup of tea or coffee makes a big difference.
Coffee is very important. Without coffee, my brain works very slowly in the morning. With coffee, I feel like a normal human again.
I understand that completely. Some people say they don't need coffee, but I definitely do. It's part of my weekday life.
Weekdays are also about work or school. Some people go to an office, some work from home, and some study. Even though everyone's situation is different, the feeling is similar: focus, tasks, and responsibilities.
Yes, and sometimes work or school feels busy and tiring, but other days feel productive and satisfying. It really depends on the day.
Exactly. Some days you finish your tasks and feel proud. Other days you feel like the day was long, even if you didn't do much.
And that's okay. Not every day has to be perfect. What matters is continuing and doing your best.
Listener, think about your weekdays. Do you work, study, or do something else? Say it slowly in English.
For example, I work in an office, or I study at home, or I go to school. Simple sentences are perfect.
Weekdays also include small breaks, lunch breaks, short walks, or even just standing up and stretching. Those small moments help a lot.
Yes, breaks are very important. Even 5 minutes away from work can refresh your mind. Sometimes I just stand near a window and take a deep breath.
I do that too. Looking outside for a moment helps me feel calmer. It's a small habit, but it works.
Weekdays are not only about work. After work or school, people relax in different ways. Some watch TV, some cook, some go for a walk, and some just rest.
Yes, evenings are very important. They help us slow down after a busy day. I like eating dinner slowly and talking about my day.
Same here. Even talking to yourself about your day can help. It helps you understand how you feel.
Listener, can you describe your weekday evening? For example, I watch TV, or I cook dinner, or I rest at home. Say it slowly and clearly.
Even one sentence is enough. Speaking regularly is what matters most.
Weekdays can feel repetitive sometimes, but if you notice small things, a good meal, a kind message, or a peaceful moment, they become easier.
Yes, small positive moments make a big difference. Even a short laugh or a good song can change your mood.
And talking about weekday life in English is great practice because it uses real, everyday language. This is the English you actually need.
Exactly. Simple words, real situations, and natural sentences. That's how you build confidence.
All right, next we can move into daily emotions and feelings like stress, happiness, tiredness, and motivation. That's a very important part of everyday English.
Yes, and everyone can relate to that. Talking about feelings helps you express yourself better in real life.
All right, Jane, let's talk about daily emotions. Everyone has emotions every day, but we don't always talk about them. Sometimes we feel happy, sometimes tired, sometimes stressed, and sometimes calm.
Yes, emotions change a lot during the day. In the morning, I usually feel sleepy and a little slow. After some time, I feel more awake and ready to do things.
I feel the same way. In the morning, my brain works slowly, and I need time to wake up. That's why I don't like talking too much before breakfast.
Yes, talking before breakfast is very difficult. I need food first, then I can think and speak properly.
During the day, emotions can change quickly. Sometimes you feel motivated and focused. Other times you feel tired and distracted.
Yes, especially in the afternoon. That's when I feel sleepy and lose energy. I call it the afternoon tiredness.
Oh yes, that feeling is very real. I sometimes stare at my screen and think, why am I so tired right now?
Exactly. When that happens, I try to stand up, stretch, or take a short walk. It doesn't fix everything, but it helps a little.
Emotions are also connected to work and daily tasks. When something goes well, you feel happy and proud. When something goes wrong, you feel frustrated or stressed.
Yes, and small problems can feel big in the moment. For example, if something doesn't work or I make a mistake, I feel annoyed. But later, I realized it wasn't such a big problem.
That's very true. Our emotions sometimes make things feel bigger than they really are. When we calm down, we see things more clearly.
Listener, think about how you feel today. Are you happy, tired, relaxed, or stressed? Say it slowly in English.
For example, I feel tired, or I feel happy today, or I feel a little stressed. Simple sentences are perfect.
Talking about emotions in English is very useful. It helps you explain how you feel in real situations.
Yes, and emotions are also connected to people. Talking to a friend, receiving a kind message, or sharing a laugh can change your mood.
Exactly. Even a short conversation can make you feel better. That's why communication is so important.
At the end of the day, emotions slow down. I usually feel tired, but also relieved that the day is over. It's a mix of feelings.
Yes, evenings are a time to relax and let go of stress. I like doing something calming, like listening to music or reading.
Listener, can you describe how you feel in the evening? For example, I feel relaxed, or I feel tired but calm. Say it slowly and clearly.
Even one sentence helps you practice expressing feelings in English.
And remember, all emotions are normal. Feeling tired, stressed, or happy is part of everyday life.
Yes, and learning to talk about them in English helps you feel more confident and understood.
All right, next we can talk about daily conversations, like small talk with people, simple chats, and everyday interactions.
That's a big part of real English.
All right, Jane, let's talk about daily conversations. These are the small talks we have every day without really thinking about them. They seem simple, but they are very important in real life.
Yes, small talk is everywhere. At work, at school, in shops, with neighbors, or even with strangers. It's how people connect in simple ways.
Exactly. For example, when you meet someone in the morning, you often say, "Good morning, how are you?" You don't expect a long answer, but it feels polite and friendly.
Yes, and most people answer with something simple like, I'm good, or I'm fine, or I'm a little tired today. It's short, but it opens the conversation.
Small talk often starts with very easy topics. The weather is a classic one. People love talking about the weather because it's easy and safe.
Oh, yes. Today is very hot, or it's raining a lot, or the weather is nice today. Everyone understands these sentences.
And weather talk never really ends. Even if you talk about it every day, people still say the same things.
Yes, it's like a daily habit, but it helps people feel comfortable with each other.
Another common small talk topic is work or daily activities. People say things like, "Busy day today," or "Work is tiring today."
Yes, and the answer is usually simple too. Something like, yes, very busy, or not too bad today.
Small talk doesn't need to be deep.
It's not about sharing big problems or long stories. It's just about being friendly and polite.
Exactly. Sometimes people think they need perfect English for conversations, but small talk is actually very simple.
Listener, imagine you meet someone today. What would you say? Say it slowly in English.
For example, good morning, or how are you today? Even one sentence is enough.
Small talk also happens in shops. For example, when you buy something, the cashier might say, "Have a nice day."
And you can answer with something simple like, thank you, you too. Short, polite, and friendly.
Yes, these small conversations happen very fast, but they make daily life smoother.
They also help you feel more confident using English. The more you practice small talk, the easier it becomes.
Sometimes small talk feels awkward, especially in the beginning. You might not know what to say, and that's okay.
Yes, awkward moments are normal. Even native speakers feel awkward sometimes.
The important thing is to keep it simple. You don't need long sentences or difficult words.
Listener, try saying a short small talk sentence now. For example, it's a nice day, or I'm a bit tired today.
Say it slowly and clearly. This is perfect shadowing practice.
Small talk can also lead to longer conversations. A simple sentence can turn into a short chat.
Yes, and that's how real conversations start. One small sentence, then another, then another.
And before you know it, you're speaking more confidently.
All right, next we can move into talking about people you meet. Friends, coworkers, neighbors, and family. That's another very common everyday topic.
Yes, describing people and relationships is very useful in daily English.
All right, Jane. Let's talk about people in our lives. Every day we meet different people. Family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, and even strangers. Talking about people is a big part of everyday English.
Yes, and we often talk about simple things. Who someone is, what they do, and how we feel about them. It doesn't need to be complicated.
Exactly. For example, you might say, "I have a friend from work," or "I live with my family." Simple sentences, but very useful.
Yes, and describing people helps others understand your life better. You can talk about their personality, habits, or what you usually do together.
For example, I have a friend who is very calm and patient. When I talk to him, I feel relaxed. I like spending time with people like that.
That's nice. I have a friend who is very talkative and energetic. She talks a lot, but she also makes me laugh. Being around her gives me energy.
Exactly. Different people make us feel different ways, and talking about those feelings in English is very helpful.
Listener, think about someone in your life. It could be a friend, a family member, or a coworker. Try to describe them in English.
For example, "My friend is kind," or "My coworker is very helpful." Say it slowly and clearly.
Talking about family is also very common. People often talk about their parents, siblings, or children.
Yes, family conversations come up naturally. You might say something like, "I live with my family," or "I visit my parents on weekends."
And even if your family is small or far away, you can still talk about them simply and comfortably.
Coworkers are another common topic. You don't need to share private details, just simple descriptions.
Yes, for example, my coworker is very friendly, or my boss is very busy.
Listener, can you describe someone you work or study with? Say one sentence in English.
Even one sentence helps you practice describing people naturally.
Neighbors are also interesting. Sometimes we don't know them well, but we still talk about them.
Yes, you might say, my neighbor is very quiet, or my neighbor has a dog.
Talking about people also helps you tell small stories. For example, something funny or kind that someone did.
Yes, a small story like, my friend helped me yesterday, or my neighbor said hello to me.
These little stories make conversations feel more real and personal.
Listener, think about a small story about someone you know. Say it slowly in English. It doesn't need to be long.
Talking about people builds connection. It helps others understand you and your life better.
And it also helps you practice describing emotions, actions, and relationships.
All right. Next, we can move into daily problems and simple solutions. Things like being late, forgetting things, or feeling tired. These are very real situations.
Yes, everyone experiences these, so they're perfect for everyday English.
All right, Jane, let's talk about daily problems. Everyone has small problems every day. They are not big, but they can still affect our mood.
Yes, daily problems are very common. For example, being late, forgetting something, or feeling too tired. These things happen to everyone.
Being late is a classic problem. You plan to leave on time, but somehow time moves faster than you expect.
Exactly. You think you have enough time, then suddenly you're rushing. Your keys are missing, your shoes are not ready, and you feel stressed.
I know that feeling very well. When that happens, I try to stay calm, even though it's difficult. Panicking usually makes things worse.
Yes, staying calm is important. Even if you're late, stressing too much doesn't help. It's better to focus on what you can do.
Another common problem is forgetting things. For example, forgetting your phone, your wallet, or an important task.
Oh yes, I sometimes leave the house and then suddenly think, did I lock the door? And then I have to go back and check.
Yes, I've done that many times. Sometimes I even check twice just to be sure.
Forgetting things can be annoying, but it's normal. Making small lists or reminders can help.
Feeling tired is another big daily problem. Some days, no matter how much you sleep, you still feel tired.
Yes, those days are difficult. On those days, I try to be kind to myself and not expect too much.
That's very important. Resting, drinking water, or taking a short break can help.
Listener, think about a small daily problem you have. Say it slowly in English.
For example, I feel tired today, or I forgot my keys, or I was late. Simple sentences are perfect.
Talking about problems in English helps you explain yourself in real life. It makes communication easier.
Daily problems also teach us solutions. We learn how to fix things, improve routines, and be more patient.
Yes, and sometimes the solution is very simple. Take a deep breath, slow down, and continue.
Not every problem needs a big solution. Sometimes just accepting the situation is enough.
Listener, try to say one problem and one solution. For example, I am tired, so I rest. Or, I forgot my wallet, so I went back home.
Say it slowly and clearly. This is great practice for everyday English.
Talking about problems also helps us feel less alone. Everyone has them, and that's normal.
Exactly. And being able to talk about them in English gives you confidence.
All right, next we can talk about daily habits and routines, things you do every day without thinking. Those are very useful for speaking practice.
Yes, habits are part of everyone's life. Talking about them helps you speak more naturally. All right, Jane, let's talk about daily habits and routines. These are the things we do almost every day without thinking much about them. They help structure our lives.
Yes, routines make life easier. When you know what to do next, you feel more organized and calm. Even small routines can make a big difference.
For example, my morning routine is very simple. I wake up, wash my face, brush my teeth, and make breakfast. Doing the same things every morning helps me start the day smoothly.
I feel the same way. I like having a calm morning routine. If I rush too much, I feel stressed for the rest of the day.
Yes, rushing in the morning can affect your mood. That's why I try to wake up a little earlier when I can.
Daily habits also include small things like drinking water or stretching. These habits are easy, but they are good for your body.
Absolutely. I try to drink water regularly during the day. Sometimes I forget, so I remind myself.
Work or study routines are also important. For example, taking short breaks or organizing your tasks.
Yes, I like working in small steps. I focus on one task at a time. It helps me stay calm and productive.
Listener, think about one daily habit you have. Say it slowly in English.
For example, I drink coffee every morning, or I walk in the evening. Simple sentences are perfect.
Evening routines are also very important. They help us relax and prepare for sleep.
Yes, in the evening, I like to slow down. I eat dinner, relax a little, and avoid stressful things.
I like reading or listening to soft music in the evening. It helps me feel calm before sleeping.
Good habits don't need to be perfect. Even small, consistent habits are very valuable.
Exactly. It's better to have simple habits you can keep than difficult ones you give up.
Listener, try to describe your evening routine in English. 1 or 2 sentences is enough.
Speaking about routines helps you practice present tense and everyday vocabulary.
Yes, this is the English you use most life in real life.
All right, we're going to slow things down now. You've stayed with us through everyday life. Weekends, food, travel, routines, feelings, conversations, habits, and rest. That's real English. Not textbook English, real daily English.
Yes, if you're listening right now, take a moment and notice something important. You just practiced English for a long time. You listened, you repeated, you followed real conversations. That matters.
And if you didn't understand every word, that's completely okay. You don't need to understand everything to improve. Your brain is still learning, quietly, naturally.
Shadowing works because it trains your ear, your mouth, and your confidence at the same time. Even when it feels slow, progress is happening.
So don't rush. Don't stress. Just come back again. Listen again. Repeat again.
English is not a race. It's a daily habit, like walking, cooking, or having coffee in the morning.
Thank you for spending this time with us. Whether you listened while walking, resting, or sitting quietly, you showed up.
And that's how real progress starts.
We'll be here next time with more everyday conversations, more calm practice, more real English.
Take care. Speak slowly and be kind to yourself.
See you next time.